Hello friends. Welcome back to the Eternal Bright Light channel. Today, we are going to learn about an interesting and very important topic related to finance and economics. All of us desire financial well-being in our life. But most of us know very little about the financial world and how it actually operates. Today, we are going to discuss about a topic which is in the very foundation of market economics. Understanding this topic will not only give you a better idea about the world market, but also help to maximize your wealth in the long run, irrespective of your profession. Friends, our today's topic is demand and supply theory, one of the core theories of economics. To make things easier for you, first we will discuss about demand and supply separately, then we will combine them to arrive at a final conclusion. So let's start with theory of demand. Let's take the example of fruit market. But before we begin, let's make a few things clear. First, we consider the quality of all the products to be same or homogeneous. Second, there are large number of buyers and sellers for the particular product in the market. So apple market also fits the description perfectly, and it is also consumed globally in a large scale. Now, let's proceed to the theory. This is a simple graph depicting the demand of apples amongst the consumers or public. The y-axis represents the price of the apples, and the x-axis represents the quantity of apples demanded by the public. Naturally, you can see, as the price of the apple increases, its demand decreases. So at point A, the price of the apples are highest at 600 per kg, whereas the demand is lowest at just 50. Now, as the price of the apples keeps on decreasing, the demand for the apples keeps increasing. At point B, it has maximum demand when the price falls to just 100 per kg. Thus, the price of a product is inversely related to the quantity demanded. This is the fundamental concept behind the theory of demand. Because a consumer will always look for affordability and try to spend as less as possible. Now let's look at some other factors which can influence the consumer demand in the market. While discussing the graph, we considered only price and quantity as the variables, because all other factors were kept constant. If any of these factors changes, then there will be shift in the demand graph. So, let's look at some of these factors. If the average income of a population increases, then more money will be available, and public would want to spend more, thereby increasing the demand. And the reverse will happen if the average income decreases. The size of the market also has a considerable effect, as the demand for apples will be more in a larger market than a smaller one. Price and availability of substitute and related product also has a large influence. For example, if the price of other fruits such as grapes, mangoes, bananas decreases while the price of apples remains same, then people will prefer to buy them instead of the apples. Then, there are personal preferences, which may reflect the psychological or physiological needs of a person, like desires for cigarettes, fancy sports cars. Or some may be culturally or historically influenced. Like, certain foods may be famous in certain countries, while very unpopular in another country. Finally, there are some special factors affecting demand for a particular good. For example, the demand for raincoats and umbrellas may be high in wet and rainy places, whereas the demand for air conditioners may be high in hot and dry places. Now let's move on to the theory of supply. This graph is also similar to the last one, where the X and Y axis represents the price and quantity demanded respectively. But this graph depicts the behavior of the seller or producers, unlike the last one, which depicted the buyer's or consumer's behavioral pattern. Here, you can see, as the price of the apples increases, the quantity produced by the seller also increases, and vice versa. But why is it so? Because a seller will always focus on profitability, unlike a buyer who looks for affordability. At low price of the apple, the profit margin is less. So, sellers will look to do alternate business, where the profitability is more. As such, point C represents the lowest point, where the selling price of apples are only 100 per kg. Whereas, point D represents the point, where the apple price is highest at 600 per kg. Thus, we learn that the quantity of goods available in the market is likely to be higher when the price is highest, and lower when the price is at its lowest. So, in the theory of supply, price is directly proportional to the quantity produced. Now, let's look at the other factors of market supply. Similar to the demand theory, there are other factors as well, affecting the supply in the market. These factors were kept constant while discussing the supply curve. Any change in one of these factors will cause a shift in the market supply. First, we have to realize that the producers supply goods and commodities for profit and not for fun or charity. So, one major element underlying is the cost of production. When production costs are low relative to the market price, it is profitable for producers to supply large amounts. Whereas, when the cost of production are high relative to the market price, less goods are produced, or the producers may switch over to production of other products, or in worst case, may simply go out of business. Then, technology has an important role to play. It is highly logical to think that advanced technology enhances the production capacity, while also reducing labor requirements, thereby increasing the profitability of the producers. The price of alternate related products also affects the market supply considerably. For example, in a car company, if the demand for one model increases and its price also greatly increases, then the company may switch over more of their assembly lines to making that model, and the supply of other models will fall. Government policies and regulations also has a major impact on the supply of goods in the market. Finally, there are also some special factors to consider. For example, weather has a strong influence in the farming and agro industry, while the spirit of innovation and modernization has played a crucial role in the rapid advancement of the electronics industry. Now that we have learned about both demand and supply separately, let's find out how they work together. This is the most important part of the discussion. Listen to it very carefully. Practically speaking, demand and supply always works together in tandem. Until now, we have discussed about them separately, but this graph is a combination of both the demand graph and the supply graph. In this case, this is the combined demand and supply graph of the apple market. As you can see, when the supply exceeds demand, then there is an excess of apples in the market. For example, in case 1, when the market price of the apples are 500 per kg, then producers are producing nearly 300 units of apples, while the consumers are demanding only 90 units. So, this leads to an excess availability of apples, which is not good for the market. Next, in case 2, the market price of the apples are 200 per kg. Now, the demand for apples are nearly 300 units, while producers supply only 90 units. So this also is undesirable in the market, as this will lead to inflation in the price of apples. Now, the question is, how the right price for the apples are determined, so that both demand and supply are matched perfectly. The answer is, the market does it automatically. Let's understand this by an example. Remember, in case 1, there was excess apples, when price was 500 per kg. So what will happen in this scenario is, the price of the apples will come down, as there are abundant apples available in the market. Also, the producers will produce less, to minimize the losses. Finally, when the price falls to 380 per kg, it reaches an equilibrium point, marked by point E in the graph. Here, both the demand and supply of apples in the market are 160 units, which is perfectly balanced. Now, the moment the price falls below 380 per kg, the equilibrium will be lost again. As the price of the apples becomes cheaper and cheaper, its demand will rise, which will cause a deficit of apples in the market. This demand and deficit will lead to inflation in the price of the apples. As soon as the price increases, producers seize opportunity for profit, and starts producing in large volumes, once again, thereby reducing the deficit, and the market again reaches an equilibrium point. At the equilibrium price, there is no surplus or deficit in the market. So, this is how the demand and supply forces in the market automatically tends to balance each other. Although it is never perfectly balanced, but it still works to a large extent. Now, of course, in the real world there are many other factors to consider, but this fundamental theory is a classic example of how the market works in general. Friends, we have reached the end of the session today. We believe every human being, irrespective of their profession, should know this fundamental concept of economics, as this may help you in taking some of your financial decisions a lot easier, and ultimately lead to your financial well-being. This is a small step, but a significant step. Please let us know your thoughts, and if you want to learn about any other topics, please write in the comment section. Stay tuned for more exciting contents, and subscribe to the channel. Keep growing and evolving. See you soon. Goodbye for now.